Hello, hello. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. How are you on this marvelous Sunday?
I'm good. It is sunny outside. So,
Mm.
as I was just saying, you guys to Anna right before this, I might do faceless sprints because I might set up my laptop outside once we go into
Mm-hmm.
sprints today.
Yes. Go
Try
get
to
that
use
vitamin D.
exactly. I'm trying to get it as much as possible while it lasts because in the UK, you don't know how long it's going to last.
Lovely.
Well, the usual stuff. I don't think we're gonna get any new people who have never met us before, but just in case, we're the Lazy Gang. You're on my channel. I write and try to stream and try to make videos occasionally, and I'm very inconsistent with all of it. But I like anything to do with magic and murder.
And a general, inconsistent approach has led to a lot of great results.
Do you know what? It's giving the results, so that's all we can aspire to.
Hmm.
Would you like to briefly introduce yourself to all of our friends who have met us 1,000 fucking times?
Of course I would. Hi guys. I'm Anna Robbins. I'm a fantasy writer who sometimes makes videos. I am currently working on a spicy dark romantasy that I have coined Hera's book. And I finished that draft last month at the beginning of May. And so now I'm working on a revision prep project for draft two. So that's me.
Exciting. So today, what are you going to be working on during the sprints? Do you think you're doing that revision like program, or are you doing anything
Mhm.
else? Are you doing anything video related? Tell me all.
Uh, um, why don't you guys help me pick? Because I have so
What's your
much,
list?
so much to do. I did film a video about my revision prep checklist.
Okay.
Um, so I do need to edit that. However, that would be on my other computer, so I'll probably do that tonight. But if you tell me that I need to do it immediately, I will do it. Um, I, as I said to Malin before we got live, I really need to work on my bullet journal because I did not do my bullet journal for May and it fucked me over. So I need to be good and kind of get organized for June and do my spreads and everything. So that may be my first sprint is just getting my
This
head
sounds
on
like a
straight.
that would sound like a good first sprint because then it's like doing some prep work stuff before you get into the thick of whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, just kind of getting my brain turned on.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have the actual revision prep checklist, which I show in that video, but has, a great long list of stuff to do, including like writing a pitch. And there's a craft book I want to read that Malin and Stieg recommended to me. I am also doing a lot of reading this month, so I definitely need to do the bullet journal because my brain is like holding a million things.
I think do the bullet journal in your first sprint, and then in the second sprint, maybe the reading the craft book or something like that. And depending
Yeah.
on what energy level you've got then, and if you're like, I'm feeling creative and I can do stuff, or I'm feeling like I need to passively ingest stuff, like reading a book
Hmm.
type of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be vlogging at some point as well because I'm trying to make a vlog out of the whole revision month of June
Yeah.
with my new camera, which I don't think I've displayed on the channel yet. But her debut will be the revision checklist. And so
Although
hope you guys like
you
it.
we used it for our final
Oh,
question and
yes.
answer,
Actually,
this
that is
wrap.
the debut. That is the debut of the new camera.
Yes.
So I need to remember to break that out periodically today as I start working on checklist stuff.
Exciting.
What are you working on?
I've also got a few things to work through, but I think the first thing I'm going to do in the first sprint is I need to film a conclusion to the month of June for the vlog because I had some news and I sort of stopped vlogging in the last couple of weeks. And then I tried to vlog once and just like broke down in front of the camera. So I've got that for
Malin.
for remembering it though later. That's nice.
I
Let's take
love
care of
having a
this.
memento of crying.
Literally. So that last vlog bit is a mess. So I need to redo sort of like my last bit of June and where I'm at 30K in Project Alien now. So although
Wow.
I did not do my goal for the month of May, sorry, I keep saying June, but I mean May, for the month of May.
Mhm.
I need to like conclude on the vlog part for that. And I did reach 30K and like I'm in exciting scenes and everything. So I just kind of want to like do a little bit of vlogging about it. And then
Amazing.
I think afterwards I might do some writing because that would be easy enough to do outside. I don't need like my screen to be perfectly visible if I'm just writing, and I've got like a box I can put my laptop in. So if I'm outside, I'm going to do that. But I also want to edit the vlog for the month of April, and
Yeah.
because I've like not done any editing in a while, I was almost thinking like, should I do just April? Should I do April and May together now that I'm finished with May? Like I don't know, depending
Mm.
on the footage I've got and how long it is.
Yeah, how long do you think it would be if you squished them together?
That's the worry because I wanted them to not be too long of a vlog, and but the only thing is I thought for sure at the end of April I was done with Act 1, and then if I figured out I wasn't, so
Oh.
that's why I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I'll need to figure that out. So yeah, these are my different tasks that I've got in mind. Should we first say hi to the chat and then we can chat about our topic and then we can start our first sprint?
Love it. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so there's a few comments that I've been ignoring. Sorry, guys. Hello, Mars. How are you? Hello, Marta. How's it
Hi.
going? Hi, Susan. Good morning. Good time zones. It's afternoon for me. And for Stieg. Hi, Stieg from Transit on the bus back home. Still got 3 hours left. That's so long.
Oh my God, that's a long bus ride.
Is it a comfortable bus? Are you comfortably sat? Do you have like no one next to you? Because that'd be great.
At
I
least
just
it
hate
looks like you
people.
have Wi-Fi. That's pretty good.
Or like really good 5G, whichever it is. That shan't stop me from watching The Lazy Gang. Love it. The dedication,
Wow.
incredible. Sounds like it was kill me.
Yeah. Now I feel like the pressure to have a very entertaining stream for your bus ride.
Oh God, yeah. Well, we are gonna have to do sprints though, unfortunately. But that's your time to like do some reading or something. If you're able to
Hmm.
read on a bus, like I can see how that could be hard depending on motion sickness. So it's like in Norway where every ray of sun might be your last. Yeah, the UK is like that. You just grab it every time you see it. Grab it. You're inconsistent in upload schedule, but very consistent in high quality content. Well, thank you, Marta. That is very sweet.
Can't have both halves of the Venn diagram here.
Yeah, this is like when we did the this or that questions, and we're like, we're both halves of one writer.
Yeah.
Together, we could be really successful. Gotta work on your elevator pitch. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
I
like
do.
that. You should do that while in your bullet journal because you can have a little think tank session within your bullet journal for your elevator pitch and start.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of like the first item at the top of the list because I want to have
Mm.
like kind of the vision stuff in
You need
mind
to be
while
able
I'm
to.
working on everything else.
You always need to be able to talk about. Like, I feel like it's really hard for me to talk about my books because I'm like, how am I even starting to explain? And like when you have a
Yeah.
little YouTube, it's just a little bit easier.
Yeah, I
Um,
actually had a this past weekend we were at a party at a friend's house and I'm so fortunate I have a lot of writers in real life that know about my book and stuff. So there's a friend there
Nice.
that hadn't seen me in a while and he was like, "How's your book going?" And I was like, "Oh, I just finished the draft, you know, whatever." And he was like, what's it about?" Because I had told him about Gemstone, but not this one. And
Yeah,
so I gave him like the one line pitch of Hare's book. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, I got to remember how I just said
Was
that.
it good? Did you feel like, well, this is right, this is the one?
I think so. I'm trying to remember how I phrased it, but I was like, you
Could
know,
you
it's a
ask that friend again and be like, what did I say?
yeah. I said something like it's a play on the reincarnation trope where there's like a pair of reincarnated warriors, but her lover's already in the next life trying to convince her to move on, but her bodyguard's really kind of hot. And I think that's what I said.
I have read some of the pages already. like the very
I forgot it.
beginning.
I literally forgot that I sent it to you. I just
I think you sent it to me because of my news, which I love that. Thank you for being my friend
I
who
literally
thinks
sent
of
it
my
to you
mental
and
health.
then just like took that out of my brain. I was like,
And
it's
I started reading it. I think on one of my train backs from like drinking as well, so it was like perfect. And
that is the exact right scenario.
it's you describe it as KU trash, and that is when I would read KU
Hmm.
trash. Like usually, like, oh, I've just had a few drinks. I'm on my way back.
Yeah.
Let's start this book.
Pairs great with wine.
And I think one of my first comments is like I'm immediately obsessed with the bodyguard. Like I was already like, oh, he's hot. He knows he's hot. Like it's just in the attitude. I was like, you've written the right attitude. Like that is a bad boy.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of fun already. Like at the very beginning, I have not read super like a lot of it, but just the beginning, and I was already like, yeah, I know what this is.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my God, Stieg, already 4 hours on the bus, 3 more to go. Good luck.
Wow.
Yeah, motion sickness. I don't get motion sickness on buses, but I get it a lot in taxis because they tend to have like, I don't know, like especially in winter when they have to put the heater on, there's like a car smell
Oh,
that like I
yeah.
can't. And my solution, that's the only thing that's ever worked for me, because I've tried patches, I've tried pills, I've tried all of the things for motion sickness. The only thing that works for me is citrusy scent, like mandarin or something.
Yeah.
Take it with you, like dig your nail in to get like that little scent to come out, and just like hold it by your nose the entire time, and you're good.
Yeah.
Works for
London
me.
actually was the first time I've been in a taxi backwards, and that was not fun.
Oh, the backwards thing, yeah. Fair.
And going through all the rotaries backwards, I was just,
I'm
oh
fine
my
with that
God.
because the black cabs have like so much space in them that I don't feel like motion sickness in them. But yeah, I mean like the Uber, which are cheaper than black cabs, which is
Oh,
why we
totally.
take Uber. I don't luckily I can even read or watch live streams. Nice.
Haha.
And hi Keiko, how are
Hello.
you? Oh, and finished Lucky Red, absolutely loved it. Nice. And do you feel like it's a good comp? Are you happy with it as a potential comp? Or like what's your conclusion?
Very fun.
Keiko says originally wanted to play The Sims, but there was an update, so I have to wait for a week now until they fix the new bugs. Oh, fair enough.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Look at her, she's so great. What was that about? What did we want?
Maybe the camera.
Oh yes, that was it.
Yes, yes.
My revision starts July 1st.
We are once again together, Steeg.
So exciting, so exciting. Sen says weekly planning and such first for me, then working on the goldmine horror. Oh yes, exciting.
Oh, love the sound of like just the sound of goldmine horror. Like I'm in.
Right.
I'm in.
It's great. Meant the camera, but actually the two of you are very pretty too. Thank you, Marta. Excited to see your revision process.
Thank you. I'm excited to see yours as well. I definitely love
I hope you're
crowd.
gonna stay in sync, because that's just so funny. Every single time you're like, I'm over there, I'm at that chapter, I'm also at that chapter.
Yeah, Steve, you said your due date to send the draft to your editor is a year from now. So I'm going to keep that in mind because I need to create some external deadlines for myself.
Because then you can work backwards, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
that was like a deadline. Thank you. I'm okay. I'm fine. Clearly, I'm good. But I love that. You guys are so sweet. Keiko's reading for a readathon, doing for the next few days. Nice, but also still need to write because I couldn't write the last 2 days because sick. Yeah, fair enough. I also love you so much, Stieg. Very sweet. Unfortunately, I will not be reading yet, which, as Anna knows, is torture for me right now. I've got social media prep and admin to do, and then probably some chores. Well, this is why we're here. We are going to bring some sprints in, I promise. We're going to get through the last of you guys' comments, and then we shall start. Hi, Miley. How is it? 8 a.m. here. Oh, my God.
Up and at it.
Which time zone is that?
That would be... Are you Mountain, Susan?
Not to try and figure out where people live or anything, but that's a
Oh, I'm going to try.
No one next to me. Nice. Perfect bus ride. 5G is good in Norway, so it's no problem. Yeah, usually when I try to catch the streams when I'm on my phone and taking the train or something, it works quite well still, unless there's like one area that I have to go through where I know I'm going to lose the connection for like
Yeah.
you. Also, I got the update that the one book that I ordered with Edasm and the rest is now finally arriving on Wednesday. Hopefully not damaged. Waited 2 months for that.
Oh my gosh.
Fingers crossed.
2 months is a long time to wait.
Yeah. Pairs great with wine. That's such a, oh my God, you should have that as like your tagline under the book title. You know, like as like a comment underneath, like in between quotes.
Yeah.
Some of the book cover, it should say pairs great with wine.
It's almost like a requirement. Like I need you to be a little buzzed to read this book.
Love it. Tax season would also kill me. Opening the window helps, but they're always very happy with that. Yeah, same. Well, the other way, I mean, the way I do it is like, I get motion sickness. Can I open the window? They don't want you to puke in their cab.
Yeah.
Definitely the vibe I want in terms of description, but the story is too different to be called a comp, I think. Okay. Well, you can, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But also remember that comps aren't like the whole book, but like you can say the aesthetic of this book, or the, like for demons, my comps are like, oh, this has similar vibes in terms of the Dark Academia or the Secret Society, or it's like pick and choose elements of the book that you'll consider as a comp.
Even just the frontier town cowboy setting.
Exactly. Before I created a leaderboard, school's out for summer. If anyone wants to play, link is in Mountain, same as well as okay. I'll give it to you. I'm in Colorado. Ooh, we're getting all the info.
I'll remember.
I actually won't because I forget everything people tell me. It's true. Well, I'm like a terrible friend because I always feel like people have told me something and my brain has just like deleted.
No, I do that as well.
I'm like, you've told me this. Have you told me this? I also forget what I've told people. So, you know, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
You have internet on the train? Well, yeah, it's the UK, you know, like it's like London-ish. We need internet on the train. Our commutes are like an hour long. A lot of them have Wi-Fi as well. I don't even know why last week I saw the German translation of the hardcover in the bookstore. Oh, so like the book you waited 2 months for. Interesting.
Oh my gosh. Would have been so tempted to just grab it off the shelf.
Memory is a sieve. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not the only one. That's good to know. So we often like to have a little topic to chat about between sprints on Lazy Gang Chats. Not that we can't find things to talk about otherwise.
We don't need it.
But I've only prepared 2 questions this time because I was like, we are yappers and we're probably going to yap a lot. Okay. So we did have as a theme, who do you write for? And the first question is going to be a little bit more indicative of what we mean by that. So I'm going to pop up the first question. We're going to jump into a first sprint, and then we'll answer the first question.
Cool.
I think that's the right order. So our first question is, do you write for yourself or for an ideal reader in mind, or commercially, as in with the knowledge that you want to publish this book that you write, and hence you might write in a certain way to appeal to, you know, a certain audience? Are you trying to like appeal to an audience? Are you writing tropes that would appeal to an audience? Things like that. So that's kind of what the question means, even though I didn't write all of the detail in there.
Got it.
So everyone in the chat, you can answer the question. That's the point, is like, have a think, let us know, and that will be a little discussion starter. And I shall present my screen, share screen. We're going to do the cocktail timer because I have a similar drink with me.
Look at that.
So it's necessary.
I have my giant iced coffee.
I'll play the sound, and then I'm thinking, since you're going to do more like journaling and I might sit outside for a while, maybe 35 minutes sounds good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's not like a super chunk. It's not a 45, but it's like
enough to get some sunlight.
Exactly.
Very good.
So let's play the sound, and then I'll put it to 35. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry, it was technically 38 minutes instead of
No
30.
worries.
Mostly because I was in the flow of writing and I got like 490 words,
Oh,
and my goal per day is 500 words because like I'm just gonna do like a 15K if I can in the month
yeah.
of June. And I was like, I'm 10 words away. Like give me 2 more minutes so I don't have to like finish them in the next sprint if I want to do something else. So I was just like,
Heck
okay.
yeah.
So I ended up with 558 words.
Oh
Turns out
my
these
gosh.
3 minutes got me like over 60 words.
Wow. I love slaying your word count goal in one sprint. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's a low word count goal, but I don't want to overpromise things to myself that I can't actually do. So I'd
And I
rather
bet
say
you'll
like,
find like if you make yourself write 500 very often, I bet you'll be like, what's another 500? Let's
yeah,
just make it 1,000.
yes, exactly. And like I might write more today. I don't know, but I just wanted to be like, oh, if I stop writing today and do other things, I don't have any weird guilt that my brain creates from lack of productivity towards myself, which I know is a whole other issue. Anyway.
Yep, moving right along.
Anyway, we all have brain problems. Who cares?
Yeah.
How did you do?
Good. I did my June calendar and I think I pretty much got all my dates and stuff on there. It's looking like quite a quiet month, which I'm so excited about.
Nice.
So I picked my color scheme and everything, which
Oh,
is like black, pink, and orange. I'm digging it.
love that. I
Um,
love
and I'm yeah,
pink
I'm
and orange
excited.
together. Looks so cute. So,
Yeah, it's like sunset vibes, night
yes.
sunset, summer nights. But yeah, I'm excited because I always knew the first half of 2025 was going to be really, really busy for me. And I had like 6 trips planned, and it was
Yeah.
just, I knew it was going to be kind of a marathon. And then once we hit June, we have kind of like no plans for the rest of the year. And I'm so excited.
That does sound nice. We do have like plans, but they're plans I'm excited for. Like, we're going to my husband's parents' beach house for like a week in June and stuff like that, which means holiday with Edgar. And I love being able to take my dog on holiday with me.
Yeah, of course. You don't have that piece of you that's missing the pupper.
Exactly. Because, like, as much as I love a holiday in general abroad, I'm just like, oh, how is Edgar doing? I hope he's fine. And just worry about him.
Thinking
He's
about the baby.
dead on my floor right now. Like, just.
Oh,
I'm terrible at angling a camera from my laptop. It's just really hard, but
what good company he is.
get the general shape. It's just because when it's summery, like now, we let him be outside so much more. Because if I'm outside, he can be outside. Like we don't really let him be outside much without supervision because he ends up eating rocks. So that is an issue. Either that or he'll start digging a hole to get to one of the neighbors because on the other side, one of the neighbors has a dog and that dog just leaves his tennis balls all over the place. And Edgar is like an addict to tennis balls, like it's crack cocaine to him. So he sniffs through like the gaps in the fence. He tries to sniff the tennis balls and then he's like, sometimes he'll try to dig a hole to get on the other side. My dog has more mental health issues than I do, clearly.
He's just passionate. That's all. He's
He's
passionate.
just ADHD and bipolar, you know?
Yeah,
Like it's all or nothing with him. So anyway. Um should we like perhaps I'll go through the comments, regular comments first, and then we can answer question one, and then we can read through people's answers of
cool.
question one. I forgot I was hosting something here for a second. It was like, let's just talk about my dog out of
That's
nowhere.
fine with me.
Where were we? I think this was like the last comment right before we started. That's like you get to be excited about it indefinitely as I tell you the same thing every time we meet. And Keiko said about that book, yes, but I wanted to read it in English. It is also a super pretty cover. I'll put it in the Discord. Nice. I'll have a little look. Then we have a few answers. And then we got Kegehime. Hello, hello. How are you? And Mars says, great news. Jacob has done the dishes, so I don't have to. Woohoo. Amazing.
That is the best news.
That is the best news. So I'm trying to find all the comments that are not the answers in between the answer comments. And then that was me saying, I need 2 minutes. Sorry. Because there was like 30 seconds left when I put it back. So
I'm glad you did it. I'm glad.
Yeah, sorry about that. And Susan says, to clarify, the summer leaderboard runs until July 31st. So it's like oh my God, I can't count. 2 months long summer leaderboard. Interesting. That could be really fun.
I went in and joined.
Nice. I haven't done that yet, but I will do it in the next sprint. I need to also decide what kind of goal I'm setting up for myself, which is why, because over 2 months, I'm not sure what I would want to achieve. I'm trying to do more time-based challenge at the moment because I feel like that's healthier for me. But
yeah, same.
Due to reasons, I failed the last one by 7 hours. So,
but overall, very close.
Very close. And Steek says, I listened to a chapter of The Dragon Reborn, Wheel of Time, book 3, and watched some reels. And very nice. Maya says, my cat peed on my roommate's bed twice. I'm just over control. What? I'm so sorry for your roommate.
Emotional damage.
Oh my God. Does your cat hate your roommate? Or what's going on there? Only 2 hours left till I'm home. Nice. And Morris made a short for YouTube. Exciting. And we got a Katie arriving. Hello, hello. How are you? Marta worked on her book for a grand total of 3 minutes, and then got a phone call, which kept me distracted for the rest of the sprint. That is fair. That is not your fault. That is outside of your control. Baby boy, yes. Very dead baby boy right now. Cutie. Not rocks, Edgar. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he loves to eat sticks, and I just wasn't expecting you to say eat rocks.
He will chew on sticks, and then I think at some point he gets bored or something, and he'll pick up a rock for and it's usually, he always picks a really smooth, round rock. And then you don't notice it until later, and he pukes it out, and there's just a rock there. And it's just the fuck is that? Why did you do that? What is wrong with you?
They just cannot learn.
It's just, I think it's part attention seeking, part boredom, if we're just not paying attention to him when we're outside. And partially also it's because sometimes he'll be like, oh, you don't have a bowl for me anymore because we put it away. Otherwise he would just destroy. So he'll find a rock that resembles a bowl and be like, here, throw that. He's trying to help you.
He's like, I noticed that for some reason there isn't a ball around, so I found this. I hope that's helpful for your purposes.
Apparently he's done that at puppy daycare as well already. He's given them a rock and be like, here, throw that instead. This is me helping. It's like he's the smartest, dumbest dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of really smart and dumb at the same time.
The logic is there.
Yeah. As is his right. Yeah. He can't be expected to make choices when he's unsupervised. Agreed. You should read backhanded compliments to him. He'd love it. Yeah. Tennis balls are his jam for sure. Out June 10th. Very, very soon. Love that. So subtle.
Yeah, we're really good at bringing the subtlety.
I'm counting on Amazon to not be super fucking late because I feel like at the moment it's not giving me June in the UK, or late June maybe, I think it was, instead of June 10th.
Yeah, I think I ordered mine through Bookshop, and sometimes those come a day early for me when I pre-order through Bookshop, so we'll see.
Where can I see my pre-orders on Amazon? Sorry. Just when is it coming? I need to know. Is it just in my orders and then it'll show up as a pre-order?
Probably.
Oh, I can probably just find it in there. Backhanded. Aha. Ordered on 14th of October. Yes. A few order details. Has it changed? Because it changes sometimes. It tells you, but no. It doesn't say. Oh, arriving 17th of July? That's over a month late. Get it together.
Mine Amazon says back ordered. I don't know if that just means pre-order.
Probably does.
Yeah.
It's like arrives after Father's Day. Need a gift sooner?
Can you imagine giving this to your father for
advise.
Father's Day?
Would this be a good gift for Father's Day? Tell
Yeah,
me.
chime in.
Okay, but serious question: has anyone in Europe pre-ordered Back Canada Compliments, and when are you getting it? Sorry, I did not even read that comment, and I was already answering it. Amazon is telling me I can't have it until the 17th of July. Yeah, that's why it's telling me as well. It might arrive sooner. Sometimes they'll give you a date that they think is the latest it'll arrive at, and then you'll receive it sooner. 2 months to give you wiggle time for all your summer shenanigans. True,
Yes.
very true. Maybe it'll be in stores in England. Yeah, I might, but I needed to do the pre-order thing, so yeah. Well, Marla, if your version doesn't come, the author might be able to bring you a finished copy to sign for you. What about me? Right here. Hello, Wendy. How are you? How's it going? I hear Katie's now knows the author or something. Yeah, we might have an in. We might have a way. He loves my roomie, so I'm absolutely confused. So it's a love pee.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's very funny. The book I'm reading is giving me ideas, says Keiko, which is not going to have so many projects. Could you combine any of these ideas together? Is the question. It's like write them down and see whether anything can make its way into another project.
Yeah.
You never know. That would be a rather kind author if the author were to do that for me. Oh, I think the author could definitely maybe do that. Maybe she already put it on her packing list. Oh, exciting. I saw the author in the woods at the Devil's Sacrament. Malin, yours says late June. No, I think it changed the date at some point, and then I think it changed it back. Like, yeah, suds. Melly, maybe he was trying to scent mark her or something. Yeah, saying your bed belongs to me now. That's
Yeah.
what this is my bed now. Mars says I'm getting my copy through my local romance bookstore. I will be picking it up. Tell me it has arrived.
That's a great thank you for that reminder, Mars, because I also got a new romance bookstore that just opened near me a couple months ago, and you're so right. I need to start pre-ordering through them. And because I want them to be around forever and ever.
That's very exciting. Katie says, well, I have about 25 copies I can give away, so anyone I'm seeing needs it. I'll let the author know, and she'll bring them to England. Love that. See, so like his arrives on June 18th. That makes no sense. I don't understand. Or do you mean the author arrives? I'm pretty sure it's a July trip, though, but yes. Well,
I'm gonna have so much FOMO, it's not even funny.
I know.
Bleh. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, the romance bookstore by me just opened last month. Okay, nice. My bestie and I went to the grand opening celebration. That's really fun. That's really fun to do. Should we answer our question and then go through the comments that answer the questions? I have to scroll all the way back up to
yes.
Wait, I scrolled too fast. Where was I? Okay, yeah, I think I found it. Okay, I'm ready for after. So, do you write for yourself or for an ideal reader in mind, or even commercially?
I think for me it depends on the project. Like when Gemstone first popped into my head and I started writing it, I really felt like I was the only person. It was for me. It was definitely for me. I had a very specific like vision in mind of what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be very irreverent and lighthearted and kind of silly. And I didn't really think there was an audience for that, but I was going to write it anyway. And so that was definitely just for me and following my own silly ideas. But with Hare's book, like that popped into my head and I was like, oh yeah, this is a KU dark romance. And I like immediately knew what the audience was for it. And yeah, it's definitely been in my mind as I wrote the book, as I wrote the first draft, of kind of emulating a more not simple, but concise, like accessible tone as opposed to Gemstone, which is very flowery and la la la, you know, it's very voicey. And Hare's book is a lot different and just definitely trying to make it fit in with that market, I think.
And also because you might have read in that market, so you yourself would be like, here's what I expect myself if I wanted to read that book.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, it's also like your ideal reader might also be yourself when you're writing that.
Yeah, I'm definitely still writing a book that like I would want to pick up, and that if I saw as I was like scrolling KU at 2 a.m., I would be like, oh, that's what I want to pick up. You know, it's still coming from my taste, and obviously I have to enjoy it if I'm going to write it.
Yeah.
But I did immediately think of it as being more commercial than Gemstone, which I just like
Yeah.
could not even fathom what the audience was going to be for Gemstone. I just knew I wanted to write
I'm
it.
definitely in that audience. I'm part of it, whatever the audience is.
Yeah. How about you?
I think I do a bit of both within the same book because I will very often start a book. For me, the process is more like it changes throughout. So, like, I'll often start writing just for myself, and I'll be like, I really want to read this, so I need to write it. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps I've been reading a lot in the same genre, and I'm like, I really want to write my own version of this. Like, that was sort of what happened with Space Princess or even Knights of Death. It was sort of like, oh, I'm enjoying these, but they're lacking something I want to have.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like to be like, this is the book I want to read, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was first and foremost for myself, and then somewhere along the way, I'll be like, oh, this could have potential. Like there's like more ideas that come from, oh, like perhaps because I'm interacting with a community online and talking with people, perhaps because I'm thinking I like to dream as well of like, oh, if this were to be picked up by an agent and blah, blah, blah. Like all of
Yeah.
these little things might impact my writing at some point or another throughout. And then it evolves from this is just for me to I'm also now thinking about it in terms of if someone else was to pick it up
Yeah.
and maybe like my writing, I don't think my writing changes drastically, but I think it's just like it becomes more something that I have in mind as I go along.
Yeah.
And maybe like a good example of it would be something like Space Princess, where I was pantsing my way through it. And then at some point I was like, I need like proper endings because I'm gonna give this to my critique partners as well. And it needs to make sense by the end. And so I started like outlining the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think like if I were to get another idea like Gemstone that was very like quirky and kind of in between a lot of the genres and wasn't really very commercial, I don't think
Mm.
that would stop me from writing it. Like if I
Yeah,
was really passionate about it in the same way, like I'm gonna write it.
yeah.
Um, so I don't think like it's a bad thing to think that a project is commercial or not. I think I'm still
No,
going to
I don't think it
work on
is.
it.
But I definitely think when I start writing first for myself, if anything, I'm almost thinking like this can be trash. I don't care. This is just for me. And
Hmm.
then when I start thinking someone's going to read it, there's different levels of who's going to read it. There's you and Hudson, who I'm like, this can be sort of trash still. They'll
Yeah.
give me leeway on that.
Yeah.
Then there's like better readers who I'm like, oh, this should be a bit better. And then there's potentially people one day buying the book one way or another, and I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
I need for this to be better. And so like it's more like almost the quality that I feel needs to elevate every time I have more layers of readers in mind. While
Yeah.
when it's just for me, I don't care. So
Yeah.
it's partially that. Should I
Yeah.
check what the comments are saying if there's anything that
Let's do
repeats
it.
in there? So I think the first comment, correct me if I'm wrong, is Marta's. I feel like when I started this series, it was purely for myself, just writing what felt fun to write. Now that I'm deeper into thinking about publishing, I'm worried it's not commercial enough. Yeah, so Mars is a little bit similar in mine, where it's like a time, like as you progress. And
Yeah.
perhaps when you start revising as well is when you start thinking about audiences
Hmm.
as well. And there's, or I'm confused because you now say A1C and I don't see a B. So just so you know, if I'm missing one answer, it's because it's not there. Am I wrong? Like I just see there's Miley's comment in between. So it's
Yeah.
like this one, then
Oh,
Miley.
there's one right below one A1C.
But I think that's the one that goes after, I think, because it
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, I'm just going to read this one. If I'm missing one, Marta, let me know. And really, I wouldn't change what I'm actually writing to make it more commercial, but it feels like I have no idea how to even begin to distill this down into a blurb pitch for when I get to start thinking about marketing, which is something that I'd like to keep in mind a lot earlier in the process for future projects. I agree that that's something I also do, where I feel like perhaps when I first wrote Demons, because it was the first one I wrote, I didn't care as much as I probably do now.
Yeah.
When I'm writing Project Alien, I'm picturing this being made into a movie. Like,
Yeah. Hell
this is
yeah.
how I'm going with that one. I'm just like, this one would be so good if it got picked up into a movie.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, I agree that it's like, as you progress in your own projects as well, you also think more about it, probably. Miley says, I write mostly for myself and Lil Miley. I love Lil Miley. It's so cute. But every once in a while, the imaginary audience in my head gets a piece. Also, my CPs are fiends, and I have to keep them fed. Love that.
Yeah, I also thought about this as well, like writing for my teenage self, who was such
Mm,
an avid reader and
yeah,
writer, and
yeah,
when I went to school for writing, that really made writing hard. I was trying to write things that didn't align with my passions,
yeah.
and when I got out of my degree, I felt so stuck, and it wasn't until I started thinking about what did teenage me like so much about writing?
Oh,
And what did teenage me like to read? And I started getting back into fantasy and, just allowing myself to write genre books again.
yeah.
And then that's when it all kind of came back. And so I
Because
think a
a
lot
lot of
about
it
my
comes,
teenage self. Yeah.
I think a lot of us, like, perhaps we don't stop dreaming as we grow into adults, but we become more realistic in our dreams as adults. And I almost feel like the teenage self is important to keep in mind when you're doing things like fantasy writing, and the point is like fiction and
Yeah.
escapism and all that. So yeah, I agree that that's a good thing to keep in mind as well. Is
Like,
I
what
do.
would teenage me want to read and what would she get excited about?
Well,
Um, yeah.
there's also the part where I'm like, teenage me had trashier tastes for sure when it comes to romance, especially.
It's funny because the books that I was working on as a teenager, like, they still have nuggets in there
Yeah.
that I'm still so attached to and could still get so excited about and would still be like, yeah, I'll sink 50 hours into writing that.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, hay
Uh,
fever a little
Go
bit.
for it.
Um, Steek says, I write for myself, and my ideal reader would be someone who, like me, is looking for fantasy and action adventures with queer main leads. I definitely lean more commercial than literary, and I don't mind that at all. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean commercial versus literary in terms of the style, but I meant more as in, like, do you write with the idea that your book is going to be bought? As in, like, how
Hmm.
commercial are you trying to make your book, if that makes sense? I'd much rather write fast-paced commercial fiction than deep soul-setting literary fiction. Though ideally, I'd want to straddle the edge of that blade down the line. That makes sense. That makes sense. Keiko says, hard to answer because in your mind you have the ideal reader in mind, someone who shares the same taste in stories like what you're writing, and then you still have the hard publishing world thing in the back of your mind as well. Yes, that's the thing. It's like the balancing between the two, and like
Yeah.
where do you draw your own line, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and Mar says, I read for myself 100%. It's great that other people enjoy my story so much, but even if no one else liked my stuff, it'd be fine because I'm writing what I want to write. That's really powerful. Like, just being able to
Yeah.
think that way. I think that's really powerful. Susan says, I write for myself, but always have a reader in mind, someone who I think would love the story that I then tell the story to. Yes, I like that. And Gaga Hime writes for herself as well, but as a trash band, I think I could do all right on KU. Just started a Shifter series.
Good for
Oh,
you.
love that. Love these on KU. And part two of Susan's answer was, then I hope that the commercial powers love it too. Yes. There's a big part of it that's just like, write it for you first and then hope for the best in terms
Yeah.
of, can this sell?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel now in between draft one and draft two, where,
Yeah.
draft one, I just wrote whatever my heart desired and tried to, execute the original vision. And then now I'm starting to think about, okay, what do I actually want this book to do?
I do have another answer later on. Sorry, I've just scrolled down because there was all the comments about what people did during the sprint. I was going to say stream. But Katie did answer as well. I tried to write for myself and I used to be so entrenched in the idea that I'm writing what I want to read, but I couldn't find. But as I move in my career, I still write for me, but I do keep the audience in mind. And I've been thinking about how my ideal reader differs from what is commercial. Lots of thoughts on it, but I do try to write what I need to write. Yeah, I guess that's also quite different when you've got a contract and you're, a published author, or on June 10th, a published author. And also you've got like another book to write with that contract in mind, is I guess the people who will read and love your first book will likely be your audience for the second book. And so you have to keep that in mind, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different as well when you have to take that into account and editors and all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussions around June 18th. I'm jealous, guys. Mine is coming on July 17th, apparently. So, whatever. Steve says, I wrote a Western, which is very much considered a dead genre. So you're good.
No. It's coming back. So. It's coming back.
I believe in that because I feel like not only you can see there's a little bit of a trend within our community, and the trend must be coming from somewhere. Like, we get our inspiration not from nowhere, guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people writing in the cover genre at the moment, in the Western genre at the moment, more like movies and like things like Beyonce's album that came out not that long ago. All of these things I think are a combination of like culturally.
Yeah. That romance Western series is popping off. I forget what it's called. Dust something. It's got really cute covers.
Susan agrees. I'm feeling a comeback for Western, Stieg. And we'll be right there pouncing on it. Wendy says, I write for myself with hopes that there are others who will like it. I'm a romance reader writing romance, but I'm also tweaking the subgenre in a way where maybe the average romance reader won't like. That's fair. That's also something to take into consideration, is like, would you be okay with writing something maybe your audience might not fully like?
Yeah.
But that'll be part of question 2, to be fair, a little bit. So I'm not going to put it out there just yet. The C just means continued. Okay. Soz. I thought you were doing ABC. Okay, fair enough. That's where my mind went. I'm sorry. Mines of Horror just takes place in the West. I'm sure some of the spelunkers have cowboy answers. Love that word, spelunkers.
So good.
Mars says 100% agree about going to school for writing. The same thing happened to me after I graduated, because writing for a degree is so different from writing for anything else. Yeah, you also need to get the grades. So that's just like one more thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that I wrote, but by the time I got to my junior year, I was completely tapped. I was out of ideas. I stopped getting ideas for stuff, and I really had to scrape by. Honestly, as I had to keep writing in my junior and senior year, and I was really struggling because we weren't really allowed to bring in chapters of larger projects. We weren't allowed to write fantasy or sci-fi or horror, and it was really looked down upon.
All the fun stuff. What do you do though?
Yeah, like I understand, like, it's hard because people can't read the whole book and have the context to give you proper critique, but like, to just completely stifle a student's interest in writing a project like that is so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, if someone has a novel idea that they're really excited about, like, don't extinguish that flame. Like, that's so awesome. And how can you support them in continuing that project?
I think that's also why I really enjoy watching, obviously not directly in the audience, but on YouTube, the videos of Brendan Sanderson's lecture, because it appeals to like what I would have to learn back in the day.
That was so different from my writing.
And it's also like a nice thing to see recognition for these genres as like, it's commercially viable. People should be allowed to.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, obviously, as it stands, writing is a tough career path, but if you're going to commit to it, if you want to make money, you should write novels.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be writing short stories, honestly, if that's your main concern. I mean, unless you want to go be professor track.
Yeah.
which is what my school was very much pushing us into, like academia and
Interesting.
writing on journals and, very highbrow stuff. But if you want to make the money, you should learn how to write novels, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
I agree. Wendy says, I still have trashy taste. That's okay. So do we.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm hoping there might be some out there that will enjoy the slight deviations. Yes, I think there will be. Katie says, yes, I want book 2 to explore new and different things, but it still needs to be similar to book 1. So that's so that they're spiritual sisters, which has been interesting. Plus, I'm really struggling with the crippling fear that my editor will hate book 2, which I know is irrational, but it's hard balancing both writing for me and writing for my job. Yeah, because if anything, your number one reader in your mind becomes the editor, that you're like, this person needs to like it. They represent all the people who need to like it.
Yeah.
So it's like a hard balancing act, but you got to remember they liked what you wrote in the first place. So
yeah, it's going to have so much of the same elements that they fell in love with, the
you
tennis
gotta
setting,
learn to trust your own self a little bit again. I
the
think
soul marks. It has all the same ingredients.
Yeah. Done and dusted. I don't remember what this was about. Sorry. I was going to say, if this is about cowboy stuff, that's a great name.
Oh, that's the name of the cowboy romance I was thinking of. Thank you, Kagehime. Yeah.
Got it. Oh, sorry, I clicked something wrong. Oh yeah, cowboy romances are still in right now, but I feel like that's a degree removed from Western novels as a genre. Yeah, but it's still like, it's indicative a little bit, I think. As always, you pick a topic that is so in my head right now. I mean, you're also doing fine. It's complicated. I'm thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, of course, when you bring money into the situation, it adds a whole other layer of complexity. If this is what's paying your bills, and so
because when we're thinking of, I'm writing a little bit commercially in my mind, we're thinking of an imaginary audience, but you have an audience, so it's a bit different. They do say that the comeback in trad wives, which is just a symbol of the good old days in America, I guess. I fear the Western comeback is due to the rise in conservatism and recession. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Also, another reason why dystopia is coming back, in my opinion.
Yes, 100%. It's why even like a few years back, started seeing a resurgence of like zombie media, like a lot of TV shows and movies with zombies. And that's typically what happens when you're in a recession. So eat the rich.
Here we are.
As far as I know, there's only one university in Germany that offers creative writing degrees, and they only take like 25 people every 2 years. Wow, that is so narrow. Could have changed by now. Okay. Thankfully, I was reading it as though that was the follow-up to this comment, but it's a different comment from ours. Thankfully, I had professors who were very into genre writing, so there was no problem going for fantasy or sci-fi. But it was still not the environment I wanted it to be. That is fair. And Keiko says their curriculum also is like forcing the students to write in all genres, and most of it not sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
Interesting. ID for a Chuck Tingle-esque Western called Bust in the Wind. Love it. Hello, Michael. How are you? We're about to jump into our second sprint because we've been on for an hour and a half. I know. My buddy just took a screenshot of the thought that I actually have an audience now. Losing my mind. It's fine. We're fine. Sorry, Katie. Not yet. June 10th.
Yeah.
Keep breathing. Keep breathing. And yes, we do support you. All right. I'm going to pop our second question, which is related, obviously, to the first one, which is, have you ever changed anything or stopped yourself from writing anything because you were worried about how it would be received? So sort of like, what can be the negative aspects of thinking of a specific audience in mind? And have you ever thought, oh, I'm not going to write that because I don't really know if that would be well received by my imaginary audience that I've got in my head? Or for Katie, her real life audience. Sorry. Not to freak you out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Think about it, answer in the chat. We'll answer after, not the break, but after the sprint. Sorry. Let me add this back to stage. And, well, that was a mistake. It's not the one I wanted to share. It's this one I wanted to share. I'll do the swimming pool one, I think.
Ooh, fun and summery.
Shall we do another 35-ish? And if I need more time again, I'll make it longer again.
Yeah,
35
that sounds
working?
good.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
packing away my bullet journal stuff, so basket of stickers.
Wow. That's a
It's
load of
fine.
material.
It's fine. I'm
I
not a
love it.
pack rat. It's fine.
Okay, pool timer. Make this bigger. Yeah, sorry. I've seen there's more comment. So right, Katie, technically you don't have a reader audience yet. You will in 2 weeks, but you can pretend you don't for now. 9 more days, single digits. Exactly. I'm not yet a public figure. Hell, but also what the fuck, guys? You're in my brain because I just spent 15 minutes rambling about this, and it probably will never be seen vlog clip.
What do you mean never to be seen?
Well, she's also stopping herself to put YouTube videos out for her imaginary and real audience.
That's true.
We are your audience, and we'd love to see that vlog. So you can put it out if you want, but I guess it depends how you're formulating it and what you're saying, and if you're giving the details of what you're not putting in the book, and if you don't want to share that, I don't know. But anyway, I'll start the pool timer, and then we'll go into 35 minutes.
All right.
And let's go. Good work.
Hello. How did it go?
That went good. I finally filmed my conclusion to my little vlog of May and
Amazing.
then put my camera to charge because the battery's dead. And then I sat outside for a little bit to write a little bit more and then came back in here to write a little bit more. So I've got at the moment 751 words. So I did like 200 since the last time. So I feel like that's all right.
Awesome. I can't believe how far already you are into Project Alien. Feels like you just
Yeah.
started and you've got
I mean,
such a good chunk in.
it is still only the very beginning of fun and games right now. I'm in the first scene, technically, or the first chapter, technically, of Act 2A. So I'm not that far in terms of like the outline, I think, even though I do have 31K. But I'm realizing that it's going to be chunkier than I thought it would be, despite being a standalone. It is still sci-fi, and I did have a lot of setup that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And basically, because I took like a week break and didn't really write in it, I reread the entirety of Act 1 before like starting properly. And I was like, I don't see anything that I'm like, oh, this is such a boring, slow scene or anything like that. So I was like, okay,
Cool.
so I think it needs to stay in at the moment, at least. So if my act 1 is 30K-ish,
Yeah.
then times 4.
I really like as a reader, especially with things like sci-fi, I really don't mind a slow act 1 to kind
Yeah,
of really immerse us in the context
a build up.
and
Yeah.
foreshadow a bunch of more complicated things and give us all the world
Yeah.
building and let us understand everything before we just like launch into hyperspeed.
Do you know what? I think it was useful to reread the first act as well because it is like a bit of a slow build up to some things that have not been revealed yet or aren't obvious to the reader at that point yet. And I think when I'm writing with an outline in mind, I tend to forget what I've already revealed or not because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know everything. The reader doesn't know everything. What have I said and
I
what should they
definitely have that
know?
issue in my current book.
I find it really difficult to know when to say things, and I'm just like, when should they know this? When is it okay
Yeah.
for them to finally know this? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I'm moving it along. Happy with where it's at the moment,
Excellent.
and I'm technically in chapter 10. So I guess,
Ooh,
yeah.
awesome.
How did you do in this sprint? What did you do in the end?
Oh, very good. I packed up the bullet journal stuff and kind of switched gears and started working on the revision project. And so, like, the very first thing at the top of that list was writing my pitch, my one sentence pitch.
Do you have one now?
I do. It was really hard. I went back and watched your video on the Reedsy 5Ps, and I
Oh,
watched a couple of
yeah.
other videos about how to make a pitch. It was really hard to get it down to one sentence, but
Will you share it, or do you want to keep it for yourself?
sure, I will share. Um, maybe oh, I can't screen share on my iPad, so I'll just read it. In this ancient Greece-inspired world, a reincarnated warrior born every 200 years finds that her fated lover is already in the next cycle, haunting her until she agrees to move on. But deserting the people in this life won't be that easy, especially when her best friend and bodyguard is willing to go to any means to get her to stay.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So it was such a fun challenge to get that all in one sentence.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
Could I recite that in one breath to an agent? No.
No, that's the thing that I find hard is like remembering like your log line. And it's sort of like, how do you talk about your book rather than just write your pitch, you know? Because that's really good to have, and you're going to be able to reuse that a lot. But like, what would you say if I was like, hey, what's your book about? Like, because you'd be like, oh, this is that, but I can't recite it. Wait, let me open my line and let me.
Yeah, it would probably be a much more jumbled version of that.
I think you've got all the elements, though. That it's very interesting because it's like I can see every single element that you've got in there. That is almost like separate sentences, but that you've managed to make into the one sentence.
Yeah, I ran into the kind of like same problem that I run into with the book, which is that when I open the book, I have a lot of context to explain about who Hera is and what's gone wrong. And it's a lot of setup to do in the beginning of the book, and like getting that into the pitch was a little tough, but I think hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah. Everyone is loving it. We've got wait, let me scroll back up. We've got E, love that, and a ooh, and a oh wow, Anna, and a give me the book, I want to read it now, and another ooh, and I want this book.
Thank you guys.
Bodyguard warrior.
And they were bodyguard.
Yeah, if you practice it, you should practice it.
Yeah, definitely would need some practice.
And a little happy congrats emoji. You know, Anna, I want it.
I'm so glad it's exciting and interesting. I hope.
It is such a good log line. I'm obsessed. Shall we see how the chat did, and then we'll jump into our question.
Yeah.
Where? Let me check. We did have a day. Hello, how are you? How's it going?
Hi.
And I saw like a oh hi vlog. Were you vlogging? I didn't see.
I was, and I think Keiko was the only one who caught it.
Shit, you have to do it like now. Get your camera back out.
Do we want to do it now? Does everyone want to say hi?
Say hi to the vlog.
Hold on. I'm not ready. I got my lens. I have to get used to taking lens caps on and off. That's very annoying. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, hi vlog.
Hi,
and then
vlog.
we've got hi vlog. And and a vlog on the horizon. Hi vlog. Michael's not a blog, it's a vlog.
Lovely. Good job, everybody.
Love it. Little cowboy emojis.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Oh, I didn't hit record.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm recording. Don't worry, I'm getting everybody.
Right. I'm going through them again. Okay, hi vlog. And then
I'm still such a noob on this camera. It's not even funny.
I find that so funny that you didn't.
So it's got two different buttons, one for photo taking and one for video recording. And so a lot of times I hit the photo button and not the video button.
You took a picture for the vlog.
Nice. I sure did.
Nice.
Don't worry, I got everybody, I think.
Anna, you menace.
I know.
Love it. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to scroll back up and down several times because we did this. We talked about your log line.
Sorry.
And to see what people did, and then we're gonna have to answer the question. So I'm sorry if I'm all over the place.
It's all good. It's all good.
People. So I think there was this. Wait, was there anything? Because I feel like no, it was all part of Steve's answer, I think. Okay. So yes, sorry. Here's the first comment. I didn't know to get up and shower, but alas, I didn't. That is fair. You know, that's absolutely fair. Mar says I popped on the latest Ellen Catherine vlog and decided that I've done enough work today and that I can read a bit, which is wonderful because this book has me foaming at the mouth.
I'm so excited because Mars and I are going to buddy read this. But they're starting a little sooner than I am. I have a couple library books to finish, but they've been sending me their like thoughts with spoiler, covers on them, but I'm just getting like all the updates and it makes me so excited that Mars is actually enjoying the book. We're reading One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, which I actually bought from my local romance.
Do not
store.
Talk to Hudson before you read.
I know she,
because now I'm not going to read it.
Fan. But I've heard that's why I wanted to read it.
I think I'm too influenceable by people who don't like stuff. So the moment you tell me you don't like something, very often I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not going to read it. So.
I've heard wildly different things from many different camps. So I'm excited to see what I think.
I think her reasons were potentially things I wouldn't enjoy either. So I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I won't. Because I did ask her to spoil for me the parts she didn't like. Mm-hmm. And so she gave me some of the stuff she didn't like. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to read it. But now I'm very curious if you like it. And then you might be able to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, and I really respect Mars's taste in books too. I think we align a lot of the times, so
Tell me what you guys think
I'm
if we
excited.
should, in fact, read it.
Hmm.
And to be fair, Hudson's very critical of a few things. So,
My
I'm just like,
my bar for enjoyment is like really low.
yeah, but I think some of the things she said about the romance, I was like, oh, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't mind that at all, and that would be fine. But I don't know if I will like that. It wasn't like I would hate that, but it was more like I don't know if I will actually enjoy that. So
Hmm.
TBC, you'll let me know.
Oh, I think Katie liked it as well.
Oh, okay. Let me scroll back down. Sorry, this is a
Sorry,
mess,
I'm
guys.
ruining your
There's
order.
so many high vlogs now.
I ruined your chat.
God damn it, Anna. Anna, you menace. Yes, One Dark Window. Loved One Dark Window. Oh no, Hudson hated it. I don't think she said she hated it, but she was very critical of it. And I think her main reasons were more the way that it's talked about online is completely wrong. And I kind of agree with that. A lot of the
Hmm.
time, book talk will be like hyping up something in a certain way. And it's like, this is not what you guys said it was. You're lying.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad because I really know nothing about it. I just
Yeah.
literally picked it up in the bookstore and was like, "Oh, this sounds good." I haven't seen like book talks or
I
YouTube or anything about it.
I think she initially picked it up as the idea of this could perhaps be a comp because it's advertised as a gothic romance. And she was
Hmm.
like, it wasn't fucking gothic. And she had some issues with the way that it's like marketed.
I
So I don't know.
see.
Rip. I've read them both. I like the first one, but the second one was so good. Like I love it
Ooh,
so much because of book two.
I
One is
absolutely
good.
love that because that's the worst when book one is like so entrancing and
Yeah.
unputdownable, and then book two is not that way.
Yeah, it's good to know that as a duology it works.
Hmm.
My friends love them, but I was just fine. Okay, cool. I'm 16 chapters in, about 40% I've sent Anna a paragraph of my thoughts after almost every
It's
chapter. Love
so
that.
fun and so exciting because I told Mars it's like I am so excited to read it because then I'll get to unwrap their thoughts like little Christmas presents as I'm going.
Mm. That is really fun. That is actually really fun.
So fun.
Oh yes, I agree. I see a lot of people talking about it. I'm like, did we read the same book? I picked it up because I thought it'd be a comp for the Eclipse project, and it was not, but still fun. Okay,
Mm.
interesting. So I think sometimes I do have that as well, where with some books that I'm like, oh, I would have enjoyed this so much more had I gone into it without knowing what people were
Mm.
talking about, because it gave me the wrong picture of what to expect. So that just
Yeah.
happens. They did make me want to buy a deck of cards, though. Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Very interesting. Shall we do our question, and then we'll probably end this stream soon after, because we're probably going
Hmm.
to yap a little bit about the question anyway as well. So
Yeah.
would you like to answer first? Have you ever
Uh,
changed anything or stopped yourself from writing anything because you were concerned about how it would be perceived by
this
potential
is really interesting because Hera's book is actually like an exercise in writing without holding myself back and just writing the first like crazy thing that comes to mind and not placing judgment on it.
readers?
Because I initially, when I first started writing it, I didn't think I was going to show anybody this book ever. I thought it was just going to be like a for funsies thing. Um,
There's no way you thought that. You knew you were going to have to, no choice, show it to me.
oh, it's definitely pushing my comfortability with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think there's also something, this is going to be hard to explain without spoiling, but there were some aspects of the first act of Hera's book that I did change when I went back and rewrote it because I started thinking about it from a reader's perspective and how writers would feel about characters and how they would react to my main character making certain choices. And I thought that I was probably um, having her do some things that were pretty unlikable that I didn't intend, and that I needed to change her motivation so that some things became more justified. um, it's
Interesting.
very vague. I don't want to. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific, but I just realized I was writing her in a direction that I didn't like, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like, I mean, that you don't like is different than what your audience might or might not like. But at the end of the day, again, if you're thinking of your audience as like people like me who would enjoy reading this, then it's helpful to
Yeah.
be like following a little bit your own instinct about what you
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of just the first time I stopped and thought about how that first act would read and the order of
Yeah.
things that I went, oh no, I don't think that's really going to come across the way I
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah. Because there's like partially there's would the imaginary commercial audience I have in mind enjoy this or have a problem with it? And then there's
Yeah.
also but am I also still writing something that I'm liking? Because they're also not, no one's going to like this if I'm not liking it, if I'm not enjoying, what I'm
Yeah.
writing myself.
Yeah, yeah. I just caught it at the right time where I realized something was going in the wrong direction and it
Yeah.
wasn't aligning with my vision
Yeah.
either. So yeah.
I have stopped myself from writing things. As you know, actually, you're one of the few people who know this, because when I first started writing The Art of Summoning Demons, in my
Oh,
head, I was like, this was going to be my KU trash reverse harem novel. It was going
I'm
to be,
still here for it, honestly.
it was going to be Olive and a bunch of hot demons, and that was like the plan. And I was like, no one's going to read this. I'm writing this for me. It was
Hmm.
very much what I started as. And then I started writing it. And I think part of the problem is, oh my God, my husband took my lounge chair. Rude. Sorry.
Rude.
I just saw him sit down. I was like, this is my lounge chair. Basically, I had a moment of like, oh, this could become something, because it was my first book that I was probably writing in English, at least. And in my head, I had started thinking, this is going to be nothing. This is going to be trash. This is going to be for fun. And then as I was going, I had that moment of like, I could like potentially write this full book, be very happy with it, decide to try and get an agent, do the whole
Yeah.
trying the traditional publishing route and everything. And that's what changed my mind. And I started rewriting it differently. And I stopped myself from doing those decisions that were leading it into the KU route, if that makes sense. So it
Hmm.
was more like almost like a self versus tradi publish route division.
Hmm. Yeah.
And especially at the time, because I did start writing it like 5 years ago, I think. At the time, I had never seen any book traditionally published that was like reverse harem vibes. Now I've seen
Yeah.
things. Now it's
Today
starting
might
to
be a
like,
different story.
today's a different story. But like back in the day,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was
Somebody
insane.
asked me this week, what if I wanted to publish Harry's book, and I was like, yeah, yeah, like I think I'll just throw it up on KU, under a pen name. But like, I don't know, the past year, the trad pub has kind of
I
like
mean,
I'm sure they
like,
all want their fourth wing, and who
girl,
knows anymore what goes.
I saw my book nemesis in Waterstones. Like I walked in my local Waterstones, they had
Book nemesis.
fucking Blood of Hercules, you know this. I
Oh
fucking hate
yeah,
that book with a vengeance, with a passion. But anyway, um,
yeah,
it was in Waterstones right there. I was like, the fuck are you doing here? Like,
yeah.
it was just a moment of shock of like, this is Wattpad. Like, what are you doing here? So slight concern
I
on
feel
my
like
part.
the rules are changing a little bit.
The rules are changing. So the question is like has changed as well from how would I've answered it perhaps 5 years ago and how would I answer it today. Now, one thing I am gonna say as well is I don't have any big problems with clearly 19-year-olds who end up with a 1,000-year-old demon, because that's what I wrote. But I'm very hyper aware of how many people fucking hate that. And it's like a thing I constantly see
Mm.
on TikTok and stuff like that. People talking about not only the age gap stuff, but also like like, why are the main characters always 19? Because then it's acceptable that
Hmm.
they're like slightly more mature. I was like,
Oh yeah.
it's a little bit annoying, but I didn't want to change any of it, because to me, I wanted it to happen in her first year of college. I was like, the whole point is like the sororities thing, and she needs to
Yeah.
just have started. It can't be her second year. Like, it was just all part of the story, and I couldn't change that part. And so, what I did change with an audience in mind was I ended up like making it so there's more explanations. It's a lot clearer that the demons in The Art of Summoning Demons take on the personality and maturity of the body they inhabit. So they become like say, you know, they're a 23-year-old, they are a 23-year-old. They're not 1,000. They're like, this is what their mind is like, becomes
they
like.
don't carry the past 1,000 years
with
in their
almost
mind.
like all of their knowledge, etc., like a Bible they can, you know, open and read from type of thing. So I made that a lot more obvious because of the concerns I have about a potential audience, that I'm like, people have issues with that. I don't, because I'm deranged, but who cares?
Well, I think it's a fine line, and I think you walk it well, and I think the changes that you've made really assist that. And also, you know, I think the main concern there is power dynamics.
Yeah, and Olive has more power over them than the other way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think you do a lot to equalize their standing with each other.
Yeah, like the whole point is that she can control demons and she doesn't know how to not control them. So it's like literally the opposite of that power dynamic that people don't like. It's like, no, she's the one with the power over them. With one word, they'll do her bidding. So.
And I think that makes it interesting and kind of flips it on its head a little bit.
Yeah. Lots of spoiler alerts for anyone who ever wants to read The Art of Summoning Demons there.
Sorry, but I shouldn't have said anything.
No, I said a bunch of things is what I mean. Like I give a lot of spoiler, who cares? Let's see what people have answered, because I'm interested. I did scroll and I don't know where I am. There was the Keep Breathing, Katie. That was towards the beginning of this print. There we go. I think the first answer was Keiko. 2 things. One, I rarely write LGBTQ plus characters because when I develop a character, I have to see them as such. I can't force myself to write them as such. It would obviously feel and read forced. Okay, interesting. It has to feel natural and give me the feeling that's them for sure. I worry how it would seem to others, even though my most fave couples in any of my works is a female couple. And number 2, a brutal scene in Project CHB. I want to write the full version, but also know it's gruesome. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what this says about me, but a lot of times my characters just don't have sexuality.
Interesting.
And to me, it's kind of a blank, like, not that I haven't thought about it, but just that they haven't told me yet.
Yeah. I feel like I understand what you're saying in the sense of sometimes it takes for me to get into revision to be like, this character's into that character. And like, I may not have noticed it until I reread myself. And I'm like, there's something there. And like, for instance, in Demons, when I first wrote it, like draft 1 would have been like, no, they're all into Olive, because that was the point at the very beginning.
Right.
But then as I like revised it and went more into it in a different perspective, Art, I'm pretty sure is bi or gay. And like it makes a lot more sense now that I fully fleshed out the character and when I first started writing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's like and there's so many things you discover as you're writing. So I was just like, it just makes more sense now that I know this, but I didn't know when I first started writing him. So I don't know. We have a Marja answer. I sort of have a bit with Project Voice, mostly because my MC has a disability and her bestie is trans, and I'm neither of those things, so I'm worried about publishing it. You can also look into beta readers who are, what is that called? The people who like check, you know?
Sensitivity reader. Yeah.
Sensitivity readers. You could check with sensitivity readers. I think there's also a difference between representation of characters by, you know, having characters who are a certain like gender, race, sexuality and everything, and trying to get into that, you know, experience and mindset which you don't have is different. So I have a lot of diversity in my crew, for instance, for Project Alien, but for my main character, because we're in her head, I don't have as much diversity with her, if that makes sense, because I would find that harder to write and to make it justice, if that makes sense. So it depends who you're talking about, which characters you're talking about, but yes. The vlog was me finishing the last bits of book 2 and having a breakdown about it a little. If it does go out, it'll be at the end of June, I think. Okay, I would love to see it if it does go out. To dive into marketing for my beautiful audience that is simply not real. That was the follow-up, I think, to... Yes. So Marja says, I'm worried about publishing it. I think I'd still like to write for myself, but I haven't decided whether or not it'll ever become more than a little side project just for me. Interesting. I'd love to read it one day.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then that was Keiku's part 2 and 3. And then Mars says, I've got some hangups for Salvation specifically because my family might read it, and writing this book is a bit of catharsis from growing up in the religious upbringing I had. But I don't think that's going to stop me from including certain things in the book. If anything, it'll just make me really consider the way I present things, which I see as a good thing. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think
tough.
it is a good thing.
But I'm glad you're not going to let it influence what you actually include, and
Yeah.
you can still do your story justice. And maybe that just means you have to give your family appropriate warnings or, context before reading it. And, you can tell them you can always not read it.
Exactly. And Kagehime says, I shelve projects which are controversial, not because I mind discourse, but because it requires a level of skill I don't have. And I want debates to be meaningful and not the result of my bad writing. Interesting. That's a really healthy take, I think, on it as well. So far, no, says Susan. Fingers crossed. Nice. Michael says, I'm from the old school. I grew up in a farming town. When you drove home at night, you used your high beams. There's a difference socially and culturally between the way things are said and done today and how they were in the 80s when I was soaking everything up like a sponge. But one can be old school and new school at the same time if they care to do. I do. So yes, I've changed and edited my writing many times before to ensure that my words match my intended messages. That's also very wholesome approach, I find, to think of it from the point of view of times have changed, I have changed, I'm learning from the way people talk now and just want to make sure that messages come across correctly. Steve says, I haven't really changed anything because of readers, but because of how I received an idea once I thought about it. For example, in my cowboy book, I wanted to explore a sibling relationship. So originally it was 2 brothers because I have a brother, but then I also didn't want the brother to leave for a big adventure and leave his wife and kids back home, as men often do in fiction. Interesting, and real life, I guess. So I reversed it and made the brother a sister instead, having the doting husband back home with the kids while she gallavants, which I think readers would have noted.
I love this.
If I made it a brother dynamic. So I guess I changed that because of readers' expectations. I really like that. That's such a nice, reversing the expectation is also a very interesting way of taking readers into consideration.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm going to lose the headset, so my audio is going to get a lot worse here, but I need my charger.
That's okay. I think I'm scrolling back down through all the high vlogs. Then we talked about One Dog Window. Oh, and I hadn't read that comment about One Dog Window. Mars says, I think I might use this as a comp for Whimsy because they share the magical plague element, but they are very different in the implementation of it. So I don't know. And then we got an answer from KG on this question. This has been such my struggle recently. I find myself getting in my own way with certain things that I had originally planned. I'm definitely worried about it being received as I am not a poly person and as I am not a man. So writing the MLM scenes had me so in my head. I didn't change anything, but I did grapple with it. That's fair. I did, however, change backhanded compliments heavily to be received better, i.e. the gender swap, which was a hard choice to make, but it was the right choice for me and for my audience. That can still be a fanfic. Sorry, I thought that was about backhanded compliments, like without the gender swap, which can also be a fanfic, reversed.
Actually, writing the reverse harem fanfic, that'll be me for D. Absolutely. The first time I read this book, I was like, Malin.
Secretly written by the author.
She had not told me the origin of this at all, and I wrote her a little note in 2022 or whatever when I first read it, and I was like, I know it's YA, but in my parallel universe, it's a reverse harem.
Yeah.
And she was like, funny you say that.
That was so interesting that you had that in mind, and I was like, this was meant to be theirs. I'm sorry it reads that way.
But I really enjoyed the current version as well. That's not to say that I want you to change it.
Yeah, I think it was a conscious choice for what I wanted it to become, and that's also probably why I ended up writing Knights of Death, because I was like, I still want to write my fun, reverse harem story that is meant to become KU trash. That's what I want that to be. So I got both now.
Yeah.
And you're still showing it to me after, Malin, right? I want to read it pretty, please. Yes, the book will still be in your hands at some point, I promise. The fanfic version, I don't know. I have not actually written it in the end. Oh my god, divorce immediately. Wait, which comment was that about?
Your lawn chair thievery.
The what, sorry?
The lawn chair thievery.
Yeah. Oh my god, I remember you talking about the reverse harem novel forever ago. I was wondering where that book went. No, that's not that one, Marta. It wasn't The Art of Summoning Demons. It was not far ago. It was a year ago. 2, maybe. I can't remember when it was. Knights of Death is still very much ongoing. I just need to write the ending, and I've not managed to yet. But yeah, it still exists. It's still gonna happen. But that's not The Art of Summoning Demons. Because Marta, when I did the reverse harem thing for The Art of Summoning Demons, I was not on the Discord. No one knew me back then when I was starting to do that. So it was pre-troublemakers for me. The other day I saw a post where someone gave Blood of Hercules 5 stars, and my immediate thought was, oh, Malin would hate to see that. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. I don't understand how people, like, I don't mind people saying this was trash and I loved it. It was my brand of trash. My issue is that everyone who talks about this book praises it like it's the best fucking written thing in the world. And their favorite sentence by Jasmine Maas is, a man was speaking, so I stopped listening. And it's so fucking cringe. It's just, I can't. It's like, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you ever want me to get really passionate and angry about something, just talk to me about Blood of Hercules, clearly.
Then we're really just, nuance can be so lovely.
Yeah. That discourse makes me want to make the main character 17. I'm such a troll. Yeah. But also, like, Olive doesn't have, like, on-screen sex. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no spice in book 1.
Yeah.
There's second base. And that's it. Katie, based on Twilight Precedent, you can put your original MM version. Oh, publish it. Yeah, definitely. I don't think I ever could. Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
The MLM version feels so different from the WLW one. Well, you have so many books, I can't be expected to keep track. Sorry, yes. I don't even know how you keep track. Oh no. People will still go for it. I think so. I think so too. I don't know what that was about, Keiko. You're gonna have to specify, because I feel like we've touched on quite a few topics. Blood of Hercules is to Malin what the Atlas 6 is to me.
Yeah,
So funny.
To read the Atlas 6 earlier this year, and I just had to DNF it because I got like 50 to 60% of the way in, and I was like, what is going on? Like,
yeah.
I just don't like heist books to begin with, so I shouldn't even have picked it up. But
oh, the Hercules sentence, the man was speaking, so I stopped listening. Yeah, and that's just one of them. But that's like the one people refer to on Book Talk all the time as, I knew that writing was for me. That's the best writing ever. Like, they just praise it like it's the best thing they've ever fucking read in their entire lives. And I think that's the part that bothers me. And I'm just like, I can't. Because the problem is these same people are going to be like, if you're looking for a really good reverse harem in this genre, this or that, and then they'll give you like recommendations, and one of them is a Jasmine Maas book, and I'll be like, oh no, I can't believe any of the other ones. And it's just, yeah, and that's my problem. But that was the last of the comments, and that was the last question that I had as well. And we have been on for 2 hours and 42 minutes, so I feel like,
oops.
I did say we were gonna yap. I knew we were gonna yap a lot.
So good at yapping.
I don't even think we need topics anymore. We can literally just yap about anything.
Truly. And honestly, before we go, if there's anything you guys want to talk about next time, please let us know, because I think we're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
We're running out of ideas. Like, I'm ready to start asking ChatGPT to give me topics at this point, guys. So, you know, give us ideas of what you want to talk about.
You want to propose a theme for, I don't know if we'll do another one in June or July.
Well, according to Katie's calendar, we're doing one on the 15th of June, which I don't think I'm free, but I was just going to say, I saw it in the calendar. I was like, did we say that? And then I went to check my calendar. I was like, I don't think we said that.
I mean,
no, I am technically free. So, you know, if you wanted to do one on the 15th.
I'm also free.
Oh my God, Katie, you made this happen. I guess we're doing one on the 15th of June.
Should I put it in my calendar legit?
That's actually so funny because I think Jamie's gonna go play Warhammer, which I love that someone called that Scary Polly Pockets on that day. So I'm free. I'll be at home.
I'm putting it in my calendar right now.
Same. Lazy Gang stream.
So we have 2 weeks, guys. If you want to pitch topics, let us know.
Yeah.
You can think about it and tag us in the Discord if you want.
There we go. Let me just check the last bits of the comments. I think Steek says the cowboy book sequel is a high story, Anna. So not for you, I guess. I do want to read it though, because it's also like not only it's the sister character, right? Like that's what that book is.
Say like Cowboy Heist is way more interesting to me because that happened. Like that comes from history.
It makes a lot of sense, Cowboy Heist. And also
a fantasy heist.
I picture this as being like it's gonna be so good just because I know that Steek's favorite books is Six of Crows. And so that being a heist book, I feel like this is something he's been meaning to do for a while. Because this is just the dopamine shot and the Game of Thrones shock-esque style people put in. Yeah. Cowboy Heist, yeah. And Deathly Hour Lazy Gang stream. You guys are doing well. Shut up, Marta. Maybe about our 5 tropes. That's a good one.
Yeah, we could return to that. That'd be fun.
Write it down.
Let me go into our tab here.
Yes.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, Katie also put me down for unexpected streams in the calendar, says Mars, but anything for Katie during release month. That's so funny. You could talk about online writer friends versus real life writer friends. We have already done that, actually. We've already had that topic, Marta. I'm so sorry that you might not have been on that stream, but we've talked about sharing your writing with real friends, critique partners, beta readers. So there's like, we sort of touched on that topic. But the going to meet each other for the first time, we haven't talked about. That's true. That's like one part we didn't really touch on.
It was great.
Yes. I mean, I just want to do it more rather than talk about it. It's like meet other people again.
Yeah.
What popular book makes you want to burn the world down? Oh yeah, we can do a trash talking stream, just talk about the books we hate and
we
why.
could make it more broad and just taste in books in general.
It can also join the trope talk, and we can do favorite tropes versus most hated tropes, and like unless I have to work, that is unavoidable. That's fair. Do it. Oh, about the 15th. Yes. I was thinking bad, but the other way could be fun too. The sequel is from the niece. Oh, the niece, not the sister character. Okay, of the first book. Yes, inspired by Ocean's 8. And I fucking love Ocean's 8 as a movie, so I want to read that book for sure when you write it.
Like, because I love a spy heist. Speaking of tropes, spy novels, all the spy gadgets. Because I think
someone needs to write totally spies into a book.
Yes, I would love to write totally spies.
Like college girls who are spies.
Malin, I'm gonna write that.
Please do. Please do. Yes, the stream's not over yet. Yes, we know. Okay, like give us a second. We're going through your comments. I wanted them to make more of these movies. Yeah. Keep chatting, folks. No, don't. Wait, I did. Oh my god, you're welcome, everyone. I totally did. It's from last year and I forgot to delete these when I put the new stuff on. Oh my god, that's so funny.
It's okay.
I doubted us before I doubted you, Katie. I was like, maybe we did book this, and I just completely forgot.
Yeah, I screwed up so much. I was like, who knows? I've been so scatterbrained.
We were like, this could be true. This could be real. And then the fact that we're both free and this is now our next one is like perfect. You don't have to take it out.
Wonderful. We didn't have to do the work.
Yeah. Ooh, books that don't match expectations. Marketing in general versus reality. Like book marketing is an interesting one. Yeah. I mean, these are all potentials that we can think about.
Notes.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a history. That history being yesterday. Oh my god. Okay. That was the last comment. We are in fact going to pull the plug, guys. Before we hit the 3-hour mark. So
we will melt. We will simply disappear if we hit
yes.
3 hours, and no one wants to see that.
And also, I still don't have an outro, so it's going to be a cold goodbye. So I'm going to click end stream, and then we can do our waving. Goodbye.